The Untouchables and the Pax Britannica by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Part 63. Preamble 1. The reverence paid by the Hindus to Brahmins and the reputed inviolability of their persons and the loss of or prejudice to caste that ensures from proving the cause of their death have in some places in the province of Benares and more especially in the Parganas of Kantit and Budho been converted by some of the more unlearned part of them into the means of setting the laws at defiance from the dread and apprehensions of the persons of the Hindu religion to whose lot it must frequently fall to be employed in forcing against such Brahmins any process or demands on the part of government. The devices occasionally put in practice under such circumstances by these Brahmins are lacerating their own bodies either more or less slightly with knives or razors, threatening to swallow or sometimes actually swallowing poison or some powder which they declare to be such, or constructing a circular enclosure called a kur in which they raise a pile of wood or of other combustible and betaking themselves to fasting, real or pretended, place within the area of the core an old woman with a view to sacrifice her by setting fire to the core on the approach of any person to serve them with any process or to exercise coercion over them on the part of government or its delegates. These Brahmins, likewise, in the event of their not obtaining relief within a given time for any loss or disappointment that they may have justly or unjustly experienced, also occasionally bring out their women or children and causing them to sit down in the view of the peon, who they brandish their swords, who is coming towards them on the part of government or its delegates, they brandish their swords and threaten to behead or otherwise slay these female or children on the nearer approach of the peon. And there are instances in which, from resentment at being subjected to arrest or coercion or other molestation, they have actually not only inflicted wounds on their own bodies but put to death with their swords the females of their own families, or their own female infants, or some aged female procured for that occasion. Nor are the women always unwilling victims. On the contrary, from the prejudices in which they are brought up, it is supposed that in general they consider it incumbent on them to acquiesce cheerfully in the species of self devotement, either from motives of mistaken honor or from resentment and revenge, believing that after death they shall become the tormentors of those who are the occasion of their being sacrificed. On similar principles, these Brahmins, to realize any claim or expectation such as the recovery of a debt, or for the purpose of extorting some charitable donation, frequently proceed either with some offensive weapon or with poison to the door of another inhabitant of the same town or village, and take post there in the manner called dharna. And it is understood, according to the received opinions on this subject, that they are to remain fasting in that place until their object is attained, and that is equally incumbent on the party who is the occasion of such Brahmins thus sitting to abstain from nourishment until the latter be satisfied. Until this is effected, ingress and egress to and from his house are also more or less prevented, as according to the received opinion, neither the one nor the other can be attempted, but at the risk of the Brahman's wounding himself with the weapon or swallowing the powder or poison with which he may have become provided. These Brahmins, however, are frequently obliged to desist and are removed from sitting dharna by the officers of the courts of justice, without any ill consequence resulting it, having been found by experience that they seldom or ever attempt to commit suicide, or to wound themselves or others, after they are taken into the custody of government. The rules and measures adopted for putting a stop to these abuses and for preventing the revival of the still more savage custom, which until these few years had been generally prevalent among the tribe of Rajkumars inhabiting the borders of the province near Jaunpur, of destroying their infant female children by suffering them to perish for want of sustenance, are hereby enacted with modifications into a regulation. The end.